ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਜੋ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਮੈਂਟਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਟਾਕ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ। It's a very important subject of artificial intelligence which has become very important, and it's going to play a big role in education also, so we thought we should introduce this to the parents right away. And we are lucky to have Dr. Gurminder Singh ji, and I also want to introduce Harnoor Kaur. Can you please come here? Harnoor Kaur is our volunteer who will be handling the mentorship talks, and she is herself a very accomplished student. She is doing her PhD at UCSF. So we are lucky to have her, and I request her to introduce our speaker today.
Migo ji ka khalsa, Migo ji ki fateh. Today we'd like to welcome Dr. Gurminder Singh ji, who's Chair and Professor of Computer Science at the Naval Postgraduate Program in Monterey. This talk will inform us about what artificial intelligence means in our world today, and what the new applications are, and what this means for the students, and how you can use this to impact your education. And we encourage everyone to ask questions. So without further ado, please, if you could start your talk.
Thank you. Let's bow Fateh first. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa. भाई टॉपिक कोई भी है फतेह और जकारे का जवाब जरा सॉलिड होना चाहिए. So let's try again. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Well, thank you for inviting me to talk about this subject, artificial intelligence. I know there is a lot of news out there recently. पिछले तकरीबन since actually November last year, artificial intelligence has been in everybody's face. Whether or not you're a technical person, everybody has heard about artificial intelligence. Whether it's technical media, obviously you heard, but even in popular media, like you listen to the news and they're talking about artificial intelligence. Even magazines which are not at all technical, magazines like Vogue, magazines like Bazaar, these are magazines which are tailored towards consumers, right? They're trying to sell you things. Even those magazines are talking about artificial intelligence. Okay? So this is something which has become mainstream. So I think it's important, and there is so much development happening. Even somebody like me whose full-time job it is to keep up with technology, I find it difficult. There are so many new terms that keep coming up, new technologies that keep coming up, new applications that keep coming up. It's a full-time job just keeping track of what is happening around us. So those of us who are not technical, who are not in the technical field at all, and they are busy with their other jobs, for them it's much harder, and I can appreciate that very much. So my talk today is aimed at those who are not up to speed on technology. They are not up to speed on what is artificial intelligence and what is going on around the world. If you are already up to speed, je tonu pata hai sab kuch artificial intelligence ki ho raha hai, fir tusi jaake langar chako cha piyo, then you may not find anything interesting here. But this is really to introduce the concepts of what is artificial intelligence, what is happening all around us, in absolutely non-technical terms. Okay, so I will stay away from jargon as much as possible. I'll stay away from abbreviations as much as possible, and we'll talk simple language. Okay, so that's the intent. So let's start with the question. Who has heard Hari Singh Nalwa in the news recently? A few. So there are some who haven't. Okay, so let's see what happened here. What happened was that Dallas Cowboys, they came up with their theme to encourage their players to, focus and go for the win. So look at on this other side. So they came up with this theme called Carpe Omnia. Carpe means seize, size, whatever. Omnia means everything. So basically, go and win everything is the message here. And look at that picture on the far right side of that image that they created. And this is a picture of supposedly Hari Singh Nalwa. Okay? And then they also created a whole bunch of merchandise with Hari Singh Nalwa's picture. Now, so this has gone mainstream as much as it can. Dallas Cowboys are among the famous NFL teams. They are always in the news, right? And especially in the sports news. And they are an American icon. And they are using images of Sikh warriors and generals and so on in their promotion, okay? So then the question comes, this is really very good. This makes us, our community, known. So if koi mainu sadak te puch le who was Hari Singh Nalwa, it'll be a shame if I didn't know, right? Because they are using Hari Singh Nalwa's picture and his example to encourage their own people, and if I didn't know who is Hari Singh Nalwa, that's a problem, right? So how do I learn about Hari Singh Nalwa? So one of the ways of doing this is I go to maybe Google and I type who is Hari Singh Nalwa, and Google will show me a bunch of things, but there is an easier way to doing all that. So let's see what is the easier way. The easier way of doing this is, what you're seeing on the screen is a new application that has come out, which is really what brought artificial intelligence to everyone. Okay, we just had to sort of become aware of what is artificial intelligence, right? So it came from this application called ChatGPT. This is an application of artificial intelligence, okay? Let's not worry about how ChatGPT does what it does. Let's look at what it actually does, okay? So if I give it a simple question as in explain Hari Singh Nalwa in 1,000 words. If my internet is working, this is happening in real time. This is not canned response or anything like that. And Hari Singh Nalwa के ऊपर 1,000 word का ऐसे लिख के present करता है. Okay? So, जिन्ने भी इतने parents बैठे हो, ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੁਣੇ ਸਕੂਲੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਐਸੇ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀ ਲਿਖਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ 1000 ਵਰਡ ਦਾ ਅੱਧੇ ਘੰਟੇ 'ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਜਾਂ 5 ਮਿੰਟ 'ਚ ਕਰਕੇ ਆ ਗਿਆ. 5 ਮਿੰਟ 'ਚ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਐਸੇ? ਉਹਨੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਟਾਈਪ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਐਸੇ ਲਿਖਾਇਆ ਆ ਗਿਆ, right? Okay. So obviously we should not be doing that, right? That's a no-no, absolute no-no. It's an absolute no-no. So those of you who are sitting here going to schools and stuff like that, and if you have ever done this, that's an absolute no-no. But you can still use ChatGPT. If you use ChatGPT, just let's say you had to write an essay on Hari Singh Nalwa, okay? And you went to ChatGPT and you basically entered exactly what I entered. It'll give you 1,000 words, right? It'll tell you a little bit of history of Hari Singh Nalwa. It'll tell you which wars he fought, etc., right? Where was he born? All those things will be listed in this particular essay. If I ask you to regenerate this essay, it'll be somewhat similar but different. Okay, it will not produce an identical essay. Okay, so it's not always that it gives you 100% the same results all the time. What you can do as a student is basically get the guidance from here. Use this as a Kickstarter. It's a seed for your thought, okay? And then do your own research and write it in your own words rather than using it cut and paste from ChatGPT. And by the way, if you did cut and paste from ChatGPT, your teacher will know. Okay, how will your teacher know? First of all, your teacher will know you're not capable of writing this kind of essay, right? That's a very clear signal. Second is that there are tools out there which will, if you feed this text into that tool, it will tell you whether it came from ChatGPT or not. Okay? So anything that ChatGPT produces in terms of writing, there are tools out there which will tell the teacher, oh yeah, this guy, got the answer from ChatGPT. So that's a no-no. But what you can do, as I said, is get the idea from ChatGPT. Sometimes if somebody gives me a very hard question, and I don't know where even to start, right? And that becomes very difficult. It becomes very time-consuming. It gets confusing. Where do I start? So I go to ChatGPT and I get the seed going, my thought process going. And after that, I embellish it with my own research. I write it in my own words. So you have used this to actually augment your learning. Okay? So anytime you do that, I know that in schools as yet you haven't probably learned how to give a proper credit. At the end of your essay, you say, what are your sources of knowledge? Where did you pick up things from? And you must then say, I used ChatGPT on date whatever, time whatever, and what was your question to ChatGPT? It's very important to list what was your question in ChatGPT. If I reframe this question, okay, so let's say I say, give me 100 words. It will give me 100 words only, give 500 words. Or I can say, explain the major wars that Hari Singh Nalwa fought. Okay, so the answer will be different, right? So you must give whatever was your string that you used for ChatGPT to get the answer, or to get the seed that sort of started with the answer. And similarly, so there is so जितने भी पेरेंट्स ने सारे ਨੂੰ पता ਅਸੀਂ गूगल किस वास्ते यूज करते हैं, right? Okay. And then there is just ChatGPT. So the question becomes, Google versus ChatGPT, how should we do it? ChatGPT is giving you what appears like a fully cooked answer, right? Google does not give you that. Google gives you the sources of information. It may give you 1,000 sources of information. Usually I have not seen anybody who will go to the 1,000th source of information. Usually we look at the front page and we look at the top 3 or 4 or 5 things, and most of the times we can find our answer there, right? So the difference is, ChatGPT is giving you a fully formed answer. Google is giving you sources of information. As a student, your focus should be sources of information, read them, understand, and create your own answer, rather than cut and paste from here. The one other thing that happens is, in ChatGPT, many times there are mistakes. It just makes up stuff that doesn't even exist. Okay, in this particular example, that's probably not happening. But there are lots of places where ChatGPT makes up stuff which is actually factually wrong. It's getting better, but it is actually factually wrong. So don't fall for that. So in that way, Google gives you more precise results, more accurate results, but you have to do the work. You have to create your own answer, as opposed to ChatGPT, which can create errors. Okay, so be very careful with that. So if you get an answer from ChatGPT and you think this is good enough, I'm going to submit it, be aware that there can be errors and you will get caught. Okay? All right. So that's just one example of what's happening out in the popular media that has... Go ahead.
Inaccuracy on the side, the data is not actually relatively newer as well. It is as old as 2021, unless you have the paid version, which will give you the latest.
Correct.
However, the Google, though in Google, if you're one of the early users of ChatGPT, you will have Google AI Assistant coming as well, which is latest and which typically gives you information, which is today in practice.
Right. So that's getting into the next level of detail, right? ChatGPT, its basis of all the information that's out there is the version that I used is 2021, something like that. So it's a few years behind. So if you ask ChatGPT a question on information that is more recent, it'll say, I don't know. I don't have the information to create an answer for you. Whereas Google is much more recent. Okay, so that sort of we are getting into the deeper technical aspects of it and things like that. But the larger point is that artificial intelligence is in our face now. Okay, our little kids are using it. So therefore, as a parent, I should know what tools are available, what is the capability of artificial intelligence, etc. So this is just one example. Let's keep going. Let's look at a few other things. We have all sort of heard about lots and lots of progress being made in the automobiles that we all drive, right? So as you even before auto braking, there were some simpler things, but auto braking, by samne koi aa gaya, the car will automatically brake. You can do it in much simpler ways, like you can have a little sensor that tells you how far the next object is, for example, a car in front of us, and the car will slowly start to brake. And if you are very close, suddenly it'll hit the brake very hard. Okay, so that's auto braking. Then we get into cruise control. You've seen the simple cruise control where you set the car to be driving at 50 miles an hour and it'll keep driving, but you can make it adaptive. So when there is enough distance in front, it'll drive at that speed. It will not go over that, but it can go under that. Right? So that is adaptive cruise control. And then there are many things in between, all the way to self-driving cars. So if you think about self-driving cars, what all is going to be needed in order to be driving automatically safely? There is so much technology that is needed. It's mind-boggling. But the impact of this mind-boggling technology is that it changes our lifestyle in a big way. So there is I'm not associated with this company, so I'm not promoting it, but I'm giving you an example of this company called Waymo. And if you have recently been in San Francisco in particular, but it's beginning to happen in other cities as well, you may have seen cars that look like this. Okay? These cars have absolutely no driver in them. Okay, and they are driving around on the streets in San Francisco. And San Francisco traffic, even for experienced drivers, those who don't go there on a regular basis, they are a little bit hesitant. They're concerned, San Francisco traffic, I don't know the roads, this, that, and the other. People are very nervous, those who don't go there every day. And then you have these cars without drivers in them, okay? Now, if you sort of just pay attention to when you're driving. I mean, most of us, driving has become automatic for us. When we apply brake, we don't consciously think about applying brakes, right? We just apply brake. Driving is much more exciting for new drivers because they have to think when they're driving, right? For people who've been driving for a long time, driving is boring because it's become an automatic function. We don't think, and it seems like a chore that I'm being a driver. For a new driver, many a times they actually want to drive because driving is much more fun. They're engaged in, I have to now apply brake, I should turn only this much and not more, and things like that, right? Okay. So now you think about this car, which is going through the entire process of figuring things out. Who's on the road? Is there somebody in front? Is there a traffic light? Is there somebody who's making an illegal turn? Am I making an illegal turn? And think of the process of taking a left turn on a busy street. Light has turned green on both sides, and now you're going to take a left turn. And this car will do that. Okay, this car will do that even when Waymo is coming from the front. Okay, so the two cars are fully automated and they won't hit each other. So we're getting there. We're not there 100%. There are some issues, and that's why in San Francisco, if you read the news, some people are complaining, the Waymo car got stuck on the road, and then they have to call 911 to come and rescue that car, and fire engine guys will come and they'll remove the car from there or something. Right? But there are not that many accidents. Not that many accidents even today. So even today, with all its imperfections, which are being sorted out very rapidly, this is actually safer than a human driver. Okay, so that's where we are headed. And how are we getting there? We're getting there because of all of these different improvements in the artificial intelligence technology. Okay? Asle artificial intelligence kis tarah ho rahi hai, kuch nahi gal ki thi. We're just looking at what artificial intelligence is enabling. Okay, so these are the applications that we are looking at. So some of you might say, oh, I don't know, I'm not worried about this business, I'm never going to use automated car. So what is it doing for me is the question many a times people ask. I'm not a technology person. I'm not impressed by all of this stuff. In fact, I'm scared of this stuff. I'm never going to use it. So what is artificial intelligence doing for me? Well, let's identify those things which are powered by artificial intelligence. Well, at the very minimum, you're probably using Siri. You're probably using Alexa. And now we are getting to a stage where तुसी कोई program watch कर रहे हो and you want to switch program, you don't want to type anything, right? It's very hard to type using television remotes. It's much easier to speak into the remote, right? So you're getting into a stage where it's eliminating all the sort of cumbersomeness of technology. And television remotes are great if you are going up or down, increasing volume up or down, going left, right, it's okay. But if you have to type anything, it's pain in the neck. Most of us will make lots and lots of errors, and we will get annoyed because it takes so long to type even a very small thing and so on. So if I replace that with speech, life is much better. And if I replace it with speech, who's going to figure out what I said? You will need a capability like Siri or Alexa, or there are many others. So now let's think about how does Siri actually work? Let's just spend a minute talking about what is involved in figuring out what I am saying. So pehli gal, you take my speech and you convert it into text. That's the very first thing we're going to do, because at the back, they're going to deal with, the systems are going to deal with text. They don't deal with speech right away. It's almost impossible to do it, okay? So the first task is to take my speech and convert that into text. You say, okay, have you got a handle on that problem? Well, only very recently. Why is it so hard? Because my accent is different from an accent of somebody who lives in southern part of the country. New Yorker accent is different. People speak at faster speed, slower speed. People use all kinds of things. There are people who make lots and lots of hesitations, ahs and ums, right? So all these differences, then there is male voice, female voice. There is a child speaking versus an older person speaking, right? So we start from all of those things and you say, okay, now that's the problem I am solving. That I'm converting speech with all these variations into text. Okay, so we at least started with the problem. And this has taken the industry of the order of 30 years to come to a stage where it actually is beginning to make sense. And तुसी कहोगे भाई इतने साल क्यों लग गए? इतने साल इस करके लग गए because 95% accuracy is not good enough. ਅਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਵੀ 90% ਤੋਂ ਉੱਪਰ accurate ਹੈ, it's okay. In the case of speech to text, even 95% is not accurate enough, is not acceptable. So we have to get as close to 100% as we can. So if we can get to 99-ish%, we are getting somewhere. 95% people had actually stopped. Basically, they rejected it. So who uses speech to text? Your doctor uses speech to text. Doctors are notorious for bad handwriting, right? So they used to write this stuff and then somebody else will take that writing and convert it into your doctor's notes after visit, somebody this, that, and the other. They don't do that anymore. And many doctors are actually beginning to produce their after visit summary right while you're sitting there. So they are dictating into the system whatever you are going to see once you leave the clinic. Okay? And all of this is being converted into text in real time while you're sitting there. Okay? So we have solved only a very small part of the problem yet that Siri and Alexa are solving, which is speech to text. Now you have taken text and now you have to go, Siri or Alexa are going to go fetch the answer from somewhere. Maybe they will use a chat GPT type system, right? Chat GPT gives you sort of like an answer already. And so you get that. So you got a bunch of text now. So starting from speech to text, now you have another as powerful a system as speech to text, or maybe even more, which is this ChatGPT system, which is bringing you the actual answer. And now you have to convert that answer back into speech or audio, right? So now you're going to convert text to speech. So text to speech, you think, that's a much easier problem, right? It's not. It's a very hard problem. Up until very recently, you could not actually listen to an article. The reason you could not listen to an article because it sounded very robotic. And in frustration, you'll say, I can't listen to this. You will listen maybe a minute or so, and then you say, no, this is not natural enough for my taste. So vast majority of people would just give up. So now, but we are at a stage where when they convert these news articles into speech or books into speech automatically, it sounds reasonably natural, and we can kind of put up with it. So look at the technology that is involved in all of this stuff. So speech to text, text to speech has taken 35 years plus to get to where we are at. And people are still working on these things. Who's working on this? These are basically students who are doing their PhDs in these areas, right? So every single one of these technologies has probably produced hundreds of PhD students who have graduated, making a small little incremental improvement. Another PhD student will come, make another small little incremental improvement, right? And so each incremental improvement that these students made is worth a PhD. That's how much technology has gone into, but that's how much effort, brain power has gone into solving these problems, okay? And that's when Siri and Alexa became possible. Okay, so this is why मैं Siri Alexa भी नहीं use करता. Actually, that is true. Very few people, जब Siri and Alexa, when they came, we all got excited, right? Everybody was asking Siri, hey Siri, what's the time? Right? And Siri will tell you the time. Simple things like that. What's the temperature outside? And Siri will tell you all. But who's using Siri anymore? Can I see who's using Siri? And for what? Only one person? Two? I use it actually. When I'm driving, I need to make a phone call. I say, Siri, call whoever. Other than that, I don't use it for anything else.
That's exactly what I use.
You also use it for the same thing. See how limited the use of these things is? Even though they are such incredible technologies. That tells you technology doesn't matter. You have to solve the problem that people are facing in their everyday context. Okay? That's the problem that needs to be solved. So let's go to the next step. Other things that we are using in the home. Up there is Nest. How many people have Nest in their home? A few, but not that many. Those of you who don't have Nest, what do you have? The Honeybell system? It's almost impossible to program that thing. Okay? And Alexa made life so much easier for everyone. And that's why this company within 2 years became, I think something like $2.5 billion, something like that, and got bought out by Google. In 2.5 years. From zero to multiples of billions. Not today's dollars, but many years ago dollars. Okay, so that's the value of this empowerment in trying to solve real problems. You know, the problem that Nest solved, basically how to adjust temperature in your home, how to maintain temperature in your home, is the same problem that VCRs have. Those of us who are parents, we have seen VCRs. There is a blinking light on the VCR device. We didn't even know how to set up the time on that. That's how difficult they were. Right. That's the problem that these guys have solved. And that's why they became, even though they solved a very small problem, only one of your problems, they became a multi-billion-dollar company. Okay. And then the next one is the Ring doorbell. Ring doorbell again became very very big, very fast. In my neighborhood, almost everybody has a Ring doorbell. Okay? So I'm not going to go into what it does. But the recent versions of Ring doorbell will actually tell you when Amazon guy came and left a box in your patio. That means they are analyzing the scene. This is a tiny little device, right? It's a very small device, like this size and this width and about half an inch thick. Okay? And that device is not only telling you who came on the door, etc., it's also telling you, oh, somebody left something in your patio. That means they are analyzing the scene and figuring out there is a box in your patio. They are able to distinguish between people versus animals. So if a cat comes in your patio, it won't tell you that there is somebody there in the patio. But if a person comes in the patio, it will tell you. Okay? And this, I believe, is a $149 device or something like that. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਨੈਸਟ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਰਿੰਗ ਡੋਰਬੈਲ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦਾ. I cannot believe that you don't use maps. Okay? So everybody uses maps. And maps are, at the back, powered by artificial intelligence in a huge, huge, huge way. Okay? How does Google or Apple Map or whichever map, whatever is your favorite map, know that you are going to get there in like exactly 7 minutes, and you actually get there in exactly 7 minutes? Right? So ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਬਾਬੇ ਯਾਦ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਬਾਬੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਪੁੱਛੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ, ਬਾਬਾ ਜੇ ਸਮਾਰਟ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਬਾਬੇ ਕੋਲ ਅਗਰ ਮੈਪ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਹੁਣੇ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਘਰੋਂ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਧੇ ਘੰਟੇ 'ਚ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ. ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪਤਾ? ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਨਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੋ, ਬਾਬੇ ਕੋਲ ਮੈਪ ਹੈਗਾ. ਓਕੇ, ਬਾਬੇ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਲੱਗਣੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੈਨ ਫਰਾਂਸਿਸਕੋ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਰਨ 'ਚ. ਓਕੇ, ਬਟ ਇਟਸ ਮੈਜਿਕ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਯਾ. ਸੋ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ Netflix, if you're using Netflix, your favorite videos are being figured out by Netflix by using artificial intelligence technology. Similarly, when you go to Amazon, by the way, Amazon, which we know, I don't know how many of you have experienced this. The item you are interested in, its price keeps changing, right? It's not as if there is somebody sitting there changing the price. It's basically these artificial intelligence running in the background. And once they have figured out you are interested in that particular item, they can either increase the price or decrease the price. Okay? But they will not keep showing you the same price all the time. So keep that in mind next time when you're trying to shop Amazon. Okay? So these are just some of the examples which are powered by artificial intelligence. Let me keep track of time here. Okay. So you say, is that it? No, that's not it. Let's see if I can play this video. I'll let you watch this. I hope it works.
This is your robot. This is your pet. This is your pet bot. Luna? Luna! Nah, this is your pet bot. This is Luna. She's gonna be your new best friend. When Luna wakes up, she stretches and sneezes. You know, like a pet. Then she hears the door opening. It's you! Luna is excited and comes running to greet you. Pat her on the head. She loves that. As you walk around, Luna tags along. And no matter where she's at, just... and she'll come running. Luna is an incredible pet who just happens to be a robot. Luna. She's very well trained and listens to both vocal and gesture commands. You know with her eyes, ears, and legs. Wanna play? Luna loves to play. She's incredible at trivia. And she loves to fetch a ball. Where's the ball? Where's the ball, Luna? Go grab it. She's also a master laser light chaser. I'm gonna catch you, laser light. Want your pet to have a friend when you're not home? Or just want some communication from afar? Your new best friend got your back.
When are you coming home?
I'll be home at 6.
Luna always wants to learn new tricks. With a simple drag and drop based on Google Blockly, you can teach Luna.
Okay, let's just stop right here. There is a little bit more, but you get the idea. So Luna is a toy produced by a Japanese company. They are selling this for about $449. There is a version that is $499. I'm not associated with the company, so I'm not promoting this, but I'm showing you with $499 the level of intelligence you're buying. Okay? If you think about all of the stuff that this little robot is doing, it's able to listen to you, it's able to interpret the commands, it's responding to you, it's recognizing images, it's able to tell whether it's going to hit something or not along the way. As over time, it becomes smarter. It figures out your home, it figures out who lives in the home and things like that. It's able to recognize and identify people based on image, okay? Based on the video image that it gets. So it's just earth-shaking technology that is available at earth-shakingly low price, okay? So all of these things that I mentioned in text-to-speech, it took 30 years, speech-to-text took 30 years, then there is the image recognition problem that took probably a lot more than 30 years, 40, 50 years, and then I talked about video issues which are probably even much more difficult. So all of that stuff combined together, running on this little device, okay, and available to you for $449. If you will, if those of you who are interested in buying toys for your children or for yourself, Japanese companies are the best. Okay, forget about all American companies. Their toys are not really very good. Japanese, they have mastered the art of conversation. And when I say conversation, I don't mean us talking. Conversation includes my posture, my intonation, and those types of things. So they are the masters at that. So if you're looking for interesting toys, stop looking at American toys. Look at Japanese toys. This is one of them. There are a few others. And it's amazing capability. Price-wise, you might say, $449 is a bit pricey, right? And the reason they are selling toys is because parents will spend any amount of money for their kids. They may not buy it for themselves, they'll buy it for their kids. Okay? All right. Let's keep going. Okay, so now we are almost finishing, and so therefore we should talk a little bit about what is artificial intelligence at the end of the day. Okay. So as I say, many, many, many years ago, before I was even born, and don't be fooled by youthful appearance, it's been a while. Okay, so this is early 50s. People started talking about artificial intelligence. It started at that time. Okay, at that time, computers were obviously very simple. They couldn't do a lot. Okay, so I mean, just compare today's computers with 10 years ago computers. You'll be very disappointed what computers could do 10 years ago. Go back 20 years, and now go back to all the way to 1950s. They couldn't do all that much at the time, okay? Even a very simple thing could get people excited. But that's the time those who were visionaries, they could imagine if we could throw more compute power at it, if we can model real world problems in a nicer way, if you can, and then you can throw enough compute power at it, what could we achieve? And that's when they came up with this term, artificial intelligence. So it's been in the works for a very long time. And there was a time period which is called the winter of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence promised so much, but for many, 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 many years, it didn't deliver anything. And people got disappointed. Oh, you raised my hopes and all that, and we put in so much money, we spent years working on it, and what do you have to show for it? Not much. Okay, so that was the time which was called the winter of artificial intelligence. But now, artificial intelligence is at the peak of the hype chart. Okay, there is nothing else which is getting as much attention as artificial intelligence. And I'm not just talking it's getting attention just because we are in Silicon Valley. It's across the world. This artificial intelligence or machine learning, both of these terms are getting so much attention. Okay? So the basic idea at the time was that we want to make computer behave like people. Okay, that it should demonstrate the same level of intelligence as a human. So that's a big ask. I mean, computers cannot even today do as much as a 3-year-old. Yes, there are some things they can do much better than we can, even as adults. But there are, in general, sort of emotion and context, interpretation and things like that, they cannot, okay, even today. But there is hope, there is big hope. So there are a few things, like how do you sort of say, hey, there is signs of intelligence. You say, I can talk to that person and the person responds in a reasonable way. That's a sign of intelligence. Okay? Then there are other things, recognizing patterns, making decisions, learning from experience. If I've seen something, I get better. I begin to remember that. I learn from that experience, and the next time, my response is going to be better. So there are three main categories here. We're not going to go into any of this detail. There is weak AI, strong AI, and then there is artificial superintelligence. So the question is, where are we at today? Given everything that you have seen, make a guess. Where are we at? Strong? We are at weak. Okay? Everything that you see today, all of these examples that I showed you today, including that little toy, they are using weak AI. Okay, weak AI is basically just focused on solving one problem, speech problem, or image recognition problem, or text-to-speech problem. It's not solving the general intelligence problem. Okay, so general intelligence problem comes in the general intelligence, which is the next category, strong AI. And there are people working away on that one. And then there is a super intelligence where artificial intelligence goes more intelligent than a human could be. And that's where you've seen some people kind of, some prominent researchers and prominent money people, they need to make noise about, oh, you know, we need to be careful. Yeah, we don't need to be careful. Let's continue to work. Okay, we're nowhere near super intelligence at this point in time. Nowhere near at all. Okay, so there is so much more to do, and it's going to get done. Okay, it's going to get done because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is solving everyday problems that people have. Okay, all right. I'm going to be finishing up soon. The other thing that you have heard is what is machine learning. You've heard probably more machine learning than artificial intelligence these days, right? So machine learning, as the name suggests, that your computer is going to learn. And what is it going to do after it learns? It can answer some questions. Okay, so it learns from examples, it can make some predictions, and it gets better with experience. So let's take a simple example from our Gurdwara. So our Gurdwara has people coming in all the time, right? If I feed in the data that on Sunday at this time, here is the trickle of people. A person came in at 10 o'clock, another person came at 10:01, another person came at 10:02, 10 people came at 10:03, etc. Right? I feed in this very simple data. I keep a log of as people enter. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਮਾਲ 'ਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਖੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਟਿਕ ਟਿਕ ਕਰਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ, ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਟਿਕ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਟਿਕ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ, right? They're keeping track of how many people are going in. ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਟੈਂਪ ਲਾ ਦਿਓ. And you feed this data in. What is this? What can we learn from this by analyzing just very simple stuff like that? ਭਾਈ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਵੈਂਸਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕੋਈ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ, right? So we can figure out the patterns. If you ask the question, ਭਾਈ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਮੇਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, ਫੀਮੇਲ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਨੇ, you think it can tell? It can only tell if when I fed in the data, I said, oh, this person coming in at 10:05 is a male. This person coming in at 10:06 is a female. Only then it can tell. Je tusi khali keh rahe ho jo banda aa raha hai, it cannot tell, right? So it depends on the input a lot. But if I put a video camera, okay, and I build a system which can, in the video itself, identify male, female, child, etc., and then automatically timestamp and capture the data, and I can analyze, I can automatically figure things out. So I can say how many male came, how many females came, how many kids came, and things like that, right? So it becomes very, very, very smart over a period of time. If you give it 1 week's worth of data, it has learned some things. If you give it 2 weeks of data, it has learned more. If you give it a year's worth of data, it can tell you summer ch kinne log aande ne, winter ch kinne log aande ne, barish aa rahi hoye ta kinne log aande ne, festival ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਦੀਵਾਲੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੋਕ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਮੇਲ ਨੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਨੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੇ, right? So it depends on what you are feeding, what is the quality of input, what is the quality of your system. Then it can give you good patterns. It can answer many of your questions. So let's forget about supervised and unsupervised learning. So now let's look at a very simple problem. Figuring out whether what you're seeing in the picture is a cat or a dog. How will you train this system to identify cats and dogs? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲੇ pictures ਦਿਖਾਓਗੇ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ dogs ਦੀਆਂ. You say this picture has a dog. Tell the system this picture has a dog. Another picture, this picture has a dog. Another picture, this picture has a dog, right? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ images ਦਿਖਾਓਗੇ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ dog front ਤੋਂ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ side ਤੋਂ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ back ਤੋਂ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਕਾਲਾ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਚਿੱਟਾ ਹੈ, right? So you show thousands of these examples and the system will learn, okay, dog looks like this. Then you will feed cats. This is when the system knows what is cats. And then you will send a picture like this and you say, now identify what is a dog, what is a cat. Okay? And in examples of this nature, it's still very hard. Despite all of the progress that has been made, it's still a very hard thing. So you say, okay, but I can see why this is hard. Like, take a look at some of these pictures. Or dog de vich car choti ji cat baithi hai, right? Whether the computer can analyze those things. The next thing is the hand-drawn picture of a dog, just the outline. Can you tell from the outline that this is outline of a dog versus a cat? Right? So it becomes more and more complicated. And that's why it's very difficult to get to the human intelligence level. Because as people, we don't even think. You know, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਰ ਲਾਈਨਾਂ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ dog ਨੂੰ draw ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, most people will tell, yeah, this is a dog. Zero confusion. But for computer, it's very, very hard. Okay. So now let's spend a few minutes, if we can, on artificial intelligence in education. And I think I need to wrap up, so I won't spend too much time on this. This is a report from the Office of Education Technology, United States government, which is basically just talking about AI and the future of teaching and learning. There was recently a meeting of all of the supervisors of the various different zones, school zones. And the teachers were all very confused. You know, how should we change our teaching? How should it evolve? It's the same kind of thing. ਜਦੋਂ calculator ਆਇਆ ਸੀ, remember Texas Instruments calculator? Teachers were all suddenly shaken up. Oh, we've been teaching this long division for so long, and now they have this little device that does this division, like you punch in the numbers and it tells you, right? So they were in a big shock whether teachers are going to be in demand at that time. I mean, it's just calculator. But now you look at the power that is being delivered, right? So obviously there is a concern in the teachers' minds and also in the parents' mind. भाई मेरे बच्चे कुछ सीख भी रहे हैं कि वो चैट जीपीटी तो सारा काम कराई जा रहे हैं, right? It's a genuine concern. As they grow, will they be able to solve real life problems, or will they always be relying on, you know, something like chat GPT? Well, we will eventually get to a stage eventually. I don't know when that eventually is going to be, where you will not actually have to do a lot of thinking. Okay? And you will still be able to solve some of the hardest problems because you are being augmented by systems which are powered by artificial intelligence. Okay? So that's sometime in the future that's going to happen. Okay? But it's all very promising to me. It's promising that we are actually enabling our children to do more. Okay? So this is a temporary phase, I believe, that students are going to try to kind of cheat. They will not do the work. They will get ChatGPT or some other system to do the work for them, right? But eventually they will figure out how to use these systems to solve harder problems, which today take a large amount of time and special people to solve. Okay? So aajkal the date which you make one visit to the doctor tells you a few things, and after that you get back home and you start Googling stuff. You can figure out so many things by yourself, and actually you get more stressed out by Googling, but your diseases and things like that. But you can, right? Yeah. Okay, so I had this other video I'm not going to show. Those of you who are interested, this is a video from Khan Academy. So parents should definitely watch it, because he actually shows in this video how ChatGPT type system can help children learn without giving them the full answer. So when children ask his system answer for something, it wouldn't give the answer, but it will guide them towards an answer. Okay, so the kids still have to work through the problems by themselves with help from this particular system that Khan Academy has built. So you can go Google it. This is a YouTube video. It's only about 6 minutes long. Okay, so watch it when you get back home. I highly recommend that you watch it. It's a very nice video and explains things in a very simple way. It's about 6 minutes. Okay, so this is about it. I am going to stop after this one slide. So AI tools are already predicting the spread of infectious diseases. This is showing yet another slide on what AI is enabling. There are many, many, many things that you have seen, okay? But look at things that we have not talked about. Spread of infectious diseases, detecting guns in schools, helping speechless speak, and slashing our energy consumption. These are just a few examples of what AI is helping solve. And then at the bottom, soon everyone will have a customized knowledge assistant. Okay, this is what I was saying, that down the road that you will have a... So you say, what's the big deal about this knowledge assistant thing? The knowledge assistant that we're talking about here is a personalized knowledge assistant. It knows what you know, okay? Because what I know is going to be different from somebody else, my neighbor, for example. So this knowledge assistant is going to be personalized and will help us solve harder problems. So this is out of an article, You Hate AI for All the Right Reasons and Now Reconsider. This was in Washington Post just like last week or so. Okay, so there is lots and lots of articles being published. These are, some of them are readable for a non-technical person, and some require some technical background. So just don't try to become an expert in AI if that's not your profession. Just read simpler articles, okay? Don't just say, oh, I don't need to learn. You do need to learn, okay? Because your kids are in schools, they are using these things, and you ought to know, okay? So with that, I'm going to stop, and thank you for putting up with my stuff. I hope this was interesting for some of you. Hanji.
Cowboys, everything Gurdwara, do you think it was done by AI or somebody like that?
Good question. I hope I think there was a person behind behind that. But this is a great question. Yeah. When I was sitting in the Langar Hall, utte Baba Deep Singh di photo lagi hai. I guess the next one will be that picture. But Baba Deep Singh that picture will become controversial in use because that's more of a religious person, right? So whereas Hari Singh Nalwa is a general war fighter and warrior and so on. So yeah, these are great questions. Yeah. Any other questions or comments or anything like that? Yes, please.
I'll say a comment. So I think this is something which is critical, crucial for all of us to know about. So I think a technologist, I'm not an engineer, but I work for a technology company, and I have a high schooler and a middle schooler. And my, I would say, suggestion to all of you is, AI will not take our jobs, will not make life easy. People who use it, they will come up with it.
Yeah, correct.
We all need to adopt and accept and read about it, because I remember 25 years back or so when I was in high school, Google chat, Google पे कभी भी कुछ भी search कर रहे थे and we were like, oh my god, you can search this on Google too. Now we are back into that stage of next level of, something which is going to transform what we do. You heard 30 years like 35 years like to get to technology, video, in speech. You will not take 30 years to get to the next level. It's going to happen. And it's up to us how much we accept it. We get ready by reading and knowing what is happening around us and encourage our kids to go read about it and try different things. Because this was the enabler of a lot of technology development that happened. iPhone enabled it because people like you and me developed apps on it. Same thing we have to do with AI is we have to be the users and the ones finding problems and then figuring out what we need. So staying in touch and listening and reading is the only way for parents as well as the younger adults to learn more about what they need.
Right. Yeah. So thank you. This is a great addition to everything that we were saying.
Gurminder ji mentioned Khan Academy, the video from Khan Academy. Khan Academy has a program called Khan Migo. And we are recommending that all parents subscribe to that. It costs $9 a month or $99 a year. And there when you go, you will tell your child's age, what class the child is, and then child can use this as a tutor, like for doing homework. And it's built into that it will not just give them the answer. Children will have to work through it and understand how the answer is and get all the details. So it's a very important tool. That's why we wanted to have this talk first before the beginning of the session, so that we understand the importance of artificial intelligence. I want our Sikh kids to be ahead of everybody else. The schools have not yet adopted it, but we want to be there ahead of everyone else. So remember Khan Migo. If you go to the college website, you find more details about it. So please take advantage of that.
You had a question.
I had a question. Currently, we don't have chat GPT devices. Again, looking at our cell phones, what we used to have about 15 years ago versus now is totally different. We don't have keyboards anymore. Similarly, do we predict actually having these AI devices, so technically replacing our smartphones with that?
So
you mentioned, I think, personal assistant, augmentation of that, or maybe further expanding the capabilities of similar tools.
Yeah.
Maybe, they will implant something.
Yeah, I think, the implants are not far from people's thinking actually.
No, it's happening.
But there are things which already include ChatGPT. The Luna toy that I was showing, it has a backend in ChatGPT. Pajit, you had a question or a comment?
I would like to answer Gurminder.
Hanji, please.
Mr. Gurminder Singh, I've been working into ADAS, what you mentioned. So nowadays your car, you all felt the car shortage was there, expensive. The basic was the semiconductor was missing in it. So now your car is actually, the front side of car is having around 2,000 microchips. And those 2000 microchips are not memory chips, they are actually computing engines.
Processors, yeah.
And most of the people are buying the cars with fancy dashboards and everything, but there's a lot of computation power going into it.
Yeah.
There is one very important feature which is going into is, you're going to Yosemite, you're going to mountains, you have a heart attack, your wife doesn't know how to drive, there's no signal. So they're working on the next trend is that the car is going to communicate to the next car which is having a signal. Those are the standards. And those are the standards which you're talking about. In the midst of blind people can see.
Yeah.
They're putting an implant in the eye, the signals go to the brain, but again the model is coming, whether it's a cat or a dog. Now this is what we want to do. Another bad aspect of AI is they know your passwords, your dark secrets. So there's an ethical AI and there's unethical AI.
Yeah.
So what our kids have to do, if they're writing an essay from ChatGPT, unethical AI, if they're using to understand why we are having this El Nino effect or why we are having so many rains, that's what is going to happen.
Yes, sir.
And I think we have to use it.
Yeah.
And the computation power is more, but remember that we are having more problems using more mobiles, eyesight problems, kids not having them. So we have to teach our kids how to think rationally about it, and that's the challenge which we have to face.
Right. Right. No, absolutely. Actually, this cars problem bothers me a lot. The car problem bothers me a lot because ਅਸੀਂ 30-40 ਹਜ਼ਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ upwards 50, 60, 100, 200, whatever. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars buying cars. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਐਕਚੁਅਲ ਯੂਟਿਲਿਟੀ ਦੇਖੋ, ਕਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਯੂਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਨ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਾਰ? 1 hour maybe, ਅੱਧੇ ਘੰਟੇ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਉੱਥੇ ਖੜੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ। ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ 4-5 ਘੰਟੇ, 6 ਘੰਟੇ, 7 ਘੰਟੇ, 8 ਘੰਟੇ ਆਫਿਸ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਫਿਰ ਅੱਧਾ ਘੰਟਾ ਡਰਾਈਵ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਕਾਰ ਖੜੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ। So you paid so much money on something which is going to be just remain parked vast majority of its time. It's such a waste, such a waste. So hopefully companies like Waymo, they can solve this problem, not just autonomous driving. It's a much bigger problem to solve. That if there is a city buys a bunch of cars that its citizens can use, just say I need a car to go to some place, car ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਆ ਜਾਏਗੀ, you sit in the car and go to there and then the car comes back. ਉੱਥੇ ਕਾਰ ਨੇ 8 ਘੰਟੇ ਖੜੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ? You're paying for parking and if you haven't paid enough for parking, you're going to get a ticket, right? It's just such a waste.
The Uber and Tesla are coming up.
Yeah.
You do not have to buy cars anymore.
Exactly right. So just think of, the next level of problems that are being solved, right? So it's all being enabled by artificial intelligence. And let's not just say it's only artificial intelligence that's solving the problems. The reason artificial intelligence actually works is because the chips that enable it to work. Okay? And NVIDIA is just one of those companies. And what are the other components? All these sensors, right? Sensors that tell you how far things are. Sensors that tell you how bright it is. Sensors that can sense sound. Sensors that can sense touch. Sensors that can sense temperature. All these things. So it's not just artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, we're just talking about artificial intelligence because that's the topic for the day. But what enables these problems to be solved is not just artificial intelligence, but lots and lots of different technologies in the mix of it. And they all have to move together. And ਜਿਹੜੇ sensors ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ 5 cent ਦੇ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨੇ, 10 cent ਦੇ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨੇ, they used to cost hundreds of dollars just a few years ago. ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ 5 cent ਦੇ sensor ਮਿਲਦੇ ਨੇ, right? So there is actually, I don't know how far this is accurate. A few years ago, somebody did a comparison of how much compute power we have in the cell phone. A few years ago, this is not recent. And in the cell phone, you have more compute power today than NASA had when they sent man to the moon and brought the man back safely. So there is more compute power in your pocket. And what is that power doing, by the way? Waiting for somebody to send me a WhatsApp message. Look at the waste. Seriously. We're spoiled. And I'm going to go change my phone and get a new one because, another guy has a better phone than me. Right? So we're spoiled. But this is the tech. I mean, we're living in an age which is so exciting, so many possibilities. Technology has never moved this fast. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. Like if you go back and compare 1920s to 1960s, what happened during that time? People were killing each other, right? Or they were dying because of diseases and things like that. But look at what's happening now. Yes, there is wars going on and stuff like that. But in the larger scheme of things, look at the improvement that is taking place. It's powered by, I mean, there was the Industrial Revolution and things like that. This is technology revolution that is taking place. And we are in the middle of all this. We are in the hub of all of that stuff. So this is a very special place to be. But you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, you said part of your full-time job is to ensure to always keep up to date on the new advancements.
I have to.
Yeah, I bet.
They'll take my job away otherwise.
Yeah. I was wondering if there is one specific source that you highly recommend. I'm not in the AI field, so, but I have FOMO, I have fear of missing out. I would like to always keep up to date with AI because I know it's in the age. I was wondering if there is a source that you would recommend, like one source that you always can go to, or not?
Yeah, there isn't a single source, unfortunately.
Okay.
What it is one good way to keep up with most of these things is to actually subscribe to a good source. I subscribe to Washington Post for news, but news is all nonsense.
Yeah.
It's depressing. But they do have columns. They have sections which are devoted to technology. They do a very good job, and there would be other sources, maybe New York Post and even in the San Francisco Chronicles and so on. So subscribe to them and spend time on them. They don't tell you aaj kitni barish honi hai, ye hona, wo hona. That's all, simple stuff. Or small little crime happening here and there. Crime happens everywhere. But focus on more strategic things, right? Pay attention, devote time to learning what is going on around you, which is improving lifestyle, which is improving life and things like that. So while there isn't a single source that will carry everything, but if you identify one good source, you can get a lot out of that source. So I mentioned earlier Vogue magazine and Bazaar, Harper Bazaar. These are trashy magazines, right? There is really nothing much of value in them. But even those magazines have published articles on artificial intelligence. And actually, the topic I was researching was digital humans. Okay, I had to present on digital humans, and I was reading about stuff. And so what did Harper Bazaar do? They actually had a digital human person take a picture with a real person. Okay, so this is the person who actually doesn't exist. It only exists in computers. But people relate to that person. There is, by the way, Mikela is the name. Go do a search on Google or YouTube. Mikela. Mikela is modeled as a 19-year-old Brazilian American living somewhere in LA area. Okay? And Mikela, there's been videos produced by Mikela. Mikela is an influencer by herself. She has 3 million or 7 million, I forget how many. 3 million or 7 million followers on Instagram. Think about that. A person who actually does not exist. And people who follow her know that she does not exist. They still follow her. Okay? It's kind of like Siri and Alexa. We know Siri and Alexa are not real people. But there are television shows that people sort of relate to them as real people. Right? So now we are getting to a stage where these digital humans actually, at least in videos and images, they look like real people. And so what are they being used for? They are being used for being brand ambassadors. So in fact, some of the biggest brands in the world have used these digital humans. I mean, instead of using Kim Kardashian and pay millions of dollars, they are using these. So these are models which have been built, built following a particular personality. And I said Brazilian 19-year-old female. living in the LA area, okay? And so she behaves and responds like a 19-year-old influencer, okay? And so when you sort of, so Michaela is not designed to be just being in videos. She will actually talk to you. And you will relate to her as if you are talking to a teenager. Okay, that's how these people are being built. So I was preparing for that talk, and that's when they say, oh, you know, digital humans are being pictured together with real people. And I said, oh, I should go chase that down. And this was an article in the Harper Bazaar magazine. Okay, so these magazines are covering, yes?
I think Migo is a really good one, and then there are a couple of newsletters of sorts like TLDR, Short Screen, and things like that. You just keep reading about the top trends that are going on in the industry on a day-to-day basis, and then if you're interested in taking sort of a deep dive into all of this, I think Deloitte is doing really good work in terms of publishing their top trends and tech trends that are going on.
Yeah.
For example, like one good one that I can share, an anecdote about that they did was when they did the Estee Lauder virtual mirror, again, drawing from one of those trashy magazines like Vogue and Harper Bazaar, but then there were some conditions where Estee Lauder was facing some skin allergies, with people trying on their foundations and creams, and they came up with like a virtual mirror of sorts in their stores like Macy's and everywhere, where you can just look into the mirror and just tell you your foundation shade and things like that. Again, using AI and then drawing on those concepts.
Yeah.
So TLDR is a really good one that I personally like to follow. Just keeping in touch with all of those things that keep on.
Yeah. Well, thank you for adding to that. Yeah.
So I just wonder, like, you know, with the way our world is progressing so fast, and we are so dependent on technology. So I have a Tesla, and I took it to the winery. We went up to the mountains, and there was no Wi-Fi connection there. So my car couldn't start, my GPS didn't work. Like my whole life was dependent. You know, it was like the sun didn't shine. Like, oh my God, what do I do? So in that moment of panic, I didn't know anyone's phone numbers because everything is programmed on my phone. So we've given our life to technology. What do you see as, you know, the more and more like we go into these advanced stages?
Yeah. So yes, you're right. We are so dependent on technology, and this dependence is going to continue to increase. You see, if I go back and think about my own parents, right? They didn't have electricity back then. They lived, right? They were just fine. And we can't live without electricity these days. For GPS se baad hi aayega. Pehle they, you know, electricity. So now electricity and water are the bare necessities. But I don't think they are the bare necessities. There is one more thing which is the bare necessity, which is the internet. If we don't have internet and we have bijli and pani, it's not enough, right? Many things will not work, as you're saying.
Like the sun. You know,
Exactly. Exactly. It's been very interesting listening, and so stay back if you want to talk some more. I'll be around, and you know, this has been fun. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Please, parents, please stay for a few more minutes. I want to introduce to you our team from the college prep. So I'd like to invite Gurminder Singh ji to come here. And Amrik Singh ji, Harjeet Singh ji, and Harnoor ji, please come forward. थोड़ा आगे आ जाओ यार, पीछे ना छुपो. And also Professor Maan, please come forward. सारे volunteer आगे आ जाओ, please. Yeah. Before I go forward, I really have to hug Gurminder Ji and thank him from my heart for this wonderful talk. Thank you very much. Just stay here, please. I'm requesting Gurminder Singh Tilonji to come here, and we have a small memento for Gurminder Ji.
Manna, capture. Thank you very much. Picture.
Somebody taking a picture?
Did you tell everybody that Gurminder Singh has been with Khalsa School for 24 years?
Many of you already know him, but he has been a director at the Guru Nanak Khalsa School for over 20 years now, and he's very popular with kids, so we call him the fun director. So, so really honored to have you on our team, and thank you very much for helping College Prep, and we hope we'll see you more often.
Actually, I want to say a little bit about the Sevadars in our school. The Sevadars in our school are by far the best people I know. Okay. See, usually तो सिक्की देखा होना है कि जिन्हें भी organizations होती हैं, people who are involved in the organizations, they always want to come in front. Photo लेनी है जी, मेरी photo होनी चाहिए, end होना चाहिए, my name should be mentioned. सारे school के सेवादार ने वो पीछे भी खड़े हैं. They don't want to come in front. They don't want to come in front, and without them, none of this will work.
Please come, Gurpreet ji.
Yeah.
Without them, none of this will work. So it is an amazing organization that we have. It is amazing. Yeah. So it's just incredible. Pushpinder ji, तुसी क्यों बैठे हो?
Aneet?
So all the teachers, all the Sevadars, there is about 150 Sevadars. So every week they devote a bunch of their time. By the way, I devote the least amount of time, just to be honest about it. I don't spend so much time. But these 150 people, every week, every Sunday. Sunday is the precious day for everyone, right? सारे ने सारे घर दे काम करने, मेसी भी जाना है, food भी जाना है, सब कुछ करना है, right? They spend something like 6 hours every Sunday at Gurdwara Sahib at the school. So it's not a small devotion that they have to the cause. It's just very impressive. Yeah.
ਸਾਡੇ CPP the tutors ਵੀ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਨੇ, please come join us. मेरा ख्याल बाकी कुछ ख्याल बाहर चले गए ने.
That the copies are I think they dispersed because they had to go to other meetings.
I should mention among us is Sardar Bhupinder Singh Dhillon. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ. He's president of our Gurdwara. He's also the visionary behind this program. So we are really lucky to have a leader like him who supports all the educational activities. Our Gurdwara is unique in offering this kind of classes, also scholarships for college students and many other activities. So we are very happy with that. I have to stop the meeting here because we have to now collect all the chairs, put them in the bag and prepare this room for Khalsa School.
1 minute. Recognize the volunteers. Just 1 minute. Recognize the volunteers. Professor Baltesh Singh Maan, I'm with San Jose State University and also with our college prep program here. Please.
हरजीत सिंह रेखी, मैं इवेंट्स कोऑर्डिनेटर ते थोड़ा प्लानिंग च इन्वॉल्व होता. Anything to do with registration and post follow-ups is something that I look into.
Thank you, Rajiji.
I'm Gurminder Singh. I manage the math program and also miscellaneous programs help us there. Anytime any parents have questions, feel free to come by. Thank you, Ji.
I'm Rik Singh, engineer. I'm a coordinator and helper for the events and for the classes.
Harnoor Gaur, I'm a student at UCSF and we're part of the seminar series. So if you have any particular topics you'd like for us to host, please let us know.
On my back, Kamalpreet Singh ji, he has joined today as our volunteer co-coordinator with Amrik Singh ji. Where is Amrik Singh? Oh yes, Amrik Singh ji here. And Tamanna Rai, she is my student and she has taken over the multimedia and social media from today. She is on live today also. So applaud her for this. So we will do it. So over to GP Saab.
We also have here Sukhwinder ji. She's an English tutor. Gurpreet Singh ji from Khalsa school team, but he's so indispensable that we will need him for college prep team also. So, and same with Pushpinder ji, she is a backbone of Guru Nanak Khalsa school, but I think CPP will always need her guidance and help. So, Hanji, we have, our Gurdwara has a very wonderful management team, and we see Bahadur Singh ji standing in the back.
Bahadur Singh ji, resource person. Very good.
For all the maintenance issues. So our internet was not working, so he brought an antenna and put it there. Thank you, ji. So, but we will need a more robust internet in future. So let's have a jikara and then go and enjoy ourselves. Bole so nihal.